Com.
.com.
That was a little Anthrax Lone Justice, which was produced by Carl Kennedy of the Rods. And we started with the Rods Crank It Up. Thank you, Carl, for joining us. We appreciate it.
Yes.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was.
All right, so we saved the best for last here.
Of course.
We did.
All right.
Oh, come on.
We've had Dan on before, and we love having Dan on because it's a fun conversation.
Yes,
always.
it is.
And Dan, how are you?
Well, I was doing okay until I heard what Johnny Z said about me off the air.
What did Johnny Z say?
What did Johnny Z say?
John,
I'll
you
tell
got
you.
ecstatic.
I'll tell you.
Go ahead, John.
I
Spit it out.
basically, I said to Dan's face that I thought that he was possibly the best-looking guy we had on Megaforce Records.
There it is.
That's a title.
Yeah, buddy.
Wait.
You go,
That's a
Dan.
title.
Possibly. 5 minutes ago, it was I was. Now it's possibly. This is like Blitz. It's like it
Well,
goes
because
backwards.
while I was thinking of you,
Yeah.
I was thinking of maybe I won't even say.
Oh, come on, John.
We got
Don't
we
tease
got
us like that,
we
Johnny.
got Joey. Is a sweet guy,
All right.
but Dan, I don't want to go into stuff. I got to tell you, I haven't spoken to you in 35, 38 years. I have no idea,
Yeah.
but this is wonderful that we're together. But I always thought you were one hell of a really good-looking guy. And I'm not going to spend the next 15 minutes
Wow.
on the phone talking
Well,
about your
like I
look.
told you off the air, you know, my bass player Jimmy Shulman has told me I'm good looking. The former guitar player from Hades, Ed Furman, has told me I'm good looking. My wife told me that I think about 30 years ago, and I think there was one 65-year-old woman on the beach about 4 years ago. So now there's like 4 or 5. There's 5 people who have told me I'm good looking, and I appreciate it, Johnny.
That 65-year-old
Hey,
woman was
Dan,
me in
you
drag.
Deserve it. You deserve it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I tell you one thing about Johnny Z that nobody knows because it's not the biggest story, but the very first flight of my life was on an airplane, People's Express, to I guess it was Rochester or if
Oh, yeah.
was with John. Okay, first flight of my life was with Johnny Z to go mix our 2 songs off Born to Metalize, and I've always been a nervous guy until about 10 years ago. I didn't realize I was nervous because I had about 9 Pepsis a day because I don't have a taste for alcohol. I took Dramamine for the first time on the flight home, and the plane either got hit by lightning or there was terrible turbulence, and I was just laughing and laughing. And Johnny, I don't know if you remember this, but it was like people thought we were going down on that flight.
Well, could I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Was there? No, I think there's another flight because Jeff Tissman was another flight. Yeah, there were 3 flights I was on. One was from Rochester on a People's, one
Yeah.
was on Brockway, and one was going down to some tropical island where I remember I thought I was going to die. But I don't remember much about it because I just go into a home, and when I land, I just walk off the plane and just say thank you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, nobody loves traveling more than I do, but I'm still not a fan of flying, and I needed Xanax to get me through like 90% of my flights. So, you know, every
Wow.
time I hit a bump, I think it's the last time. It's this is it. But anyway, I'm
Well, I
honored that you
remember-
remembered me from tonight.
Oh, yeah. Listen, Lorenzo, didn't we didn't have money for hotels?
Yep.
And then we
slept
all
on the floor.
We slept in the floor of the studio.
Well, when you say we slept, you might have slept for a few minutes. I know I could never sleep on the floor, and I have insomnia. But there was something else that woke us up that night. Do you remember that?
Well, the studio was haunted.
Exactly, and they were absolute guys. I mean, I probably didn't
I believe you.
ghosts until that night. All right, well, Johnny Z and myself and my bass player Louis Charlo from Hades at the time, we had to sleep on the floor after taking the People's
Oh, that
Express
place
flight.
is scary.
And we locked the door, and the studio guy said, just keep the door locked, no matter what happens. We're like, why? Does he not trust us? So around 3 or 4, I'm a very light sleeper. Around 3 or 4 in the morning, it's pitch dark, and I hear chains, I hear dogs, I hear all sorts of things that were not on the other side of that door from what we understood.
Sounds like Bert.
Yeah, sounds like my house.
No,
But
this
Johnny,
was...
that was true, right? I'm not
No,
thinking
you're
it's like-
telling the absolute Truth.
Yeah.
This, by the way, was the old Barrett Alley, which was Music America, where you came fresh after the Metallica album was actually recorded.
Right.
In that
and the
studio.
cymbals were spinning, right?
The cymbals, Laws started freaking out because there was a big giant room that we used for drum sound. Big old ballroom that was abandoned on the top floor of the building. It was like an old abandoned building with a studio down below it. And we used to run a snake up to the drums. But with Laws, the cymbals were spinning or something like that. He just didn't want to, he had to make sure there was a drum roadie up there with him all the time.
See,
That
Ghost.
was the story. And guys,
Stayed up there with him the whole time.
Bulldozer Bob.
Again with Bulldozer Bob.
that night it was just me, my bass player, and Johnny. And I said, "You guys hear this, right?" And I'm like, "What the? What is going?" And I remember Johnny yelling at me, "There's no ghost! There's no ghost!" I'm like, "Okay, we all hear it, but yeah, sure, there's no ghost, Johnny. Whatever, we'll go back to bed."
Well, I didn't want you all to go panicking.
Oh no! How could you panic at 4 a.m, the first time away from home, when there's growling dogs and chains on the other side of it? Dark.
Yeah, you were really feeling it that night.
Well, it was happening,
You know, Dan, Bert's house is completely haunted. We have sometimes stories with Bert and ghosts.
Oh, yeah, man. So I'm 100% with you. I know exactly what that is.
It's funny. I haven't seen or heard one since I lived in Clifton, but my wife and I heard one the first night we moved into our apartment in Ridgewood 23 years ago. But yeah, it was something I'll never forget. And now that I think about it, the sounds that I heard in Ridgewood the first night my wife and I slept in our new apartment was very similar to the sounds we heard with Johnny on the other side of the wall. But anyway,
Wow.
Congratulations on the audio book, John. That's what we're all here for, right?
Yeah, man. Well, it's all groovy. We're all here to have a good time and hang out with the brothers.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
You know, one of the things, Dan, that's really cool and why we're here, the audience may not notice, but there's 2.5 hours of material in the audio book that is bonus. That's not the book. And it was recorded with the brothers live on the air. We did 10 episodes together where people in the audience, in the talk room, in the waiting room, the chat room, gave me 10 questions for 10 episodes.
Yeah.
And some of them are great. Like, I don't want to give it away, but there's some great, crazy questions on that thing. So to sort of say thank you to the brothers and to be with them, to sort of like, we're in it together, sort of, I just wanted to come on the air and invite a few friends. And when we were talking, they mentioned you, and I said, wow, I'd love to, it's true what I said. I said, I'd love to have Dan up. It's been 35, 38 years since I spoken to the guy, and you know what? He was on Born to Metalize.
Yeah.
That was a very interesting record, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I remember the Old Bridge Militia, I think, were pushing us on you. I wasn't really aware of Johnny, as far as I wasn't aware of your record store back then, because I lived, maybe an hour and a half north of Johnny in the 201 part of New Jersey. And, we'd be playing Club 516, and eventually we played Emmett's Inn and Metal Joe's Basement, and the Old Bridge Militia, took a liking to Hades. And they were like, we're going to talk to Johnny Z. We're going to make him sign you. I'm like, well, that would be interesting, And we played one night at Metal Joe's house, guys. I swear to God, we literally could do about 65 or 75 songs with Hades back then. It was a lot of, mostly covers, maybe 7 or 8 originals, but, a lot of Judas Priest, a lot of Iron Maiden. And Metal Joe and the guys, we'd finish playing 65 songs at like 4 or 5 in the morning, and they must have been on something other than Pepsi, because they wanted me to play until about 6 a.m.
Oh.
And we only had about a 3-hour drive home, but like I said, John, I was always a straight guy, so I never, you got a show is opening up for TT Quick, and I always felt like, you're playing music that's different than everybody else, and then I'm playing in these bands, but I'm like, man, I don't like the taste of beer, I'm afraid to try drugs, this, that, I was different than everybody else,
Well, that's okay.
Yeah. It worked out well for me, actually.
Yeah, it works out well, and I hope you're healthier today for it.
I am. I mean, everything. My life is perfect, John. I mean, everything just fell into place for me. After I fell in love with my wife, I was touring with a band called Nonfiction, and we were opening up in America and Europe.
That's right.
Thank you. We used to open up for Overkill on tour, and then I started a band about 3 years ago with a guy named Nathan Opposition from a band in Cleveland called Ancient Wisdom, and we're working on the 4th Vessel of Light record right now, and I've never probably, I don't know if I've ever been more into a project or songwriting, but Nathan's my perfect songwriting partner, and we have the former Overkill drummer Ron Lithnicki, who Blitz met through me because he first appeared on the last 80s record.
Yep.
But so Vessel of Light's keeping us happy. We have our 4th record coming out this fall, and I'm super honored that you invited me to come on your show this evening.
Hey, man, I'm happy you came on. And listen, I hope you don't mind, but I know you have all this new material, but being that it's old school, I wanted everybody to hear Hades from
That's cool.
Born to Metalize. Is that okay with you?
Of course, of course.
Yep. You know,
A little nostalgia. And listen, Dan, thanks for coming on, man, and spending some time with us. And I got to catch up with some of your past life now. So could you drop me an email? You have
Absolutely.
my email address. Let me know some of the stuff I got to listen to.
yeah.
All right, brother. I'll send you. There's a new documentary that the guys were just mentioning called "It's All About the Riff," which is on the Metallicave YouTube page. Metallicave is another show on Cranium Radio.
Yep.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's really cool though. And then I'm really proud of Vessel of Light, so I'll send you some of that. And thanks so much for having me, all of you guys, Rich, everybody.
All right.
No problem. Before you go, Dan, I need to know about your retort to Blitz.
Oh, so Blitz, I don't remember ever begging him to do the curse with me. I just remembered, I remember releasing solo records, and Blitz was one of the few prestigious people who loved my solo records. And I do remember, though, we had 2 riffs for what would become the intro song on the Curse record. And I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I heard this 3rd riff that was just perfect. I was so excited. And I waited all the way till 7:45 to call Blitz to tell him and hum him the riff. And he said, "Do not call me this early, dude." So I learned that part of it is true. So now, a couple of days a week, I text Blitz at 10 after 10 because I realized after many years, Blitz seems like every time he texts me, it's 10 after 10 in the morning. So I just started making it a habit. Whenever I text him, I wait till 10 after 10.
That's awesome.
Outstanding. Great.
It's nice.
Great.
Dan is
So
on.
we all know something. We all learned something tonight.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes, we did.
Yep.
Johnny thought I was good. Johnny, can I tell you who I had a secret crush on?
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Yeah.
My wife's in the other room listening, so it's Marcia Zazula. I had a little crush on
Oh,
her.
no.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exclusive right here on
Right
Brothers
here.
Grimm.
You heard it first.
It's terrible because she just went inside. She had to go do something. She missed that. But I'll tell her that. She would have
I
been.
can picture her sitting in Metal Joe's house, you and her sitting on the bed. She had jeans on, thigh-high black boots. I'm like, oh,
Whoa.
my God, she's adorable.
Nice.
Adorable.
Yeah.
Love
Oh
it.
my
Love
God,
it, Dan.
You missed this.
No, she doesn't miss
Maybe
it, John. I
that's
got to
why
record
didn't
it.
have a long Maybe that's why I
Okay.
didn't have a long career with Megaforce.
Yeah. Kept eyeballing Zazula's woman.
Yep, that was it.
That's fucking awesome.
All right,
Now
guys.
you know,
Dan.
Dan.
Yeah. Thanks so much, brother.
Thanks so much for everything, everybody.
Thanks,
All right,
Dan.
Dan. Appreciate it.
See you,
Appreciate
brother.
On the audio book, Johnny. Thanks again,
All right,
guys.
man.
See you, pal.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
See you, bud.
Bye-bye.
That's awesome.
There it is. Dan Lorenzo with a secret crush on John's
That's
wife.
right. How about
I
that?
can't believe that Marcia went inside for that.
That's
She
awesome.
had to take
That's
care
right.
of something.
I'll send you the audio tomorrow, John. You get to hear it. You
All
play it
right,
for her.
thank you.
So we talked to Dan Lorenzo from Hades, Nonfiction, and Vessel Light. How about we play some old school Hades? Night Stalker back.